Well, we are only days away from the maiden voyage of Icon of the Seas, and Royal Caribbean's already talking about changes being made to Icon 2 or Star of the Seas. What's going on, everybody? My name is Brandon. If you like cruise news, cruise vlogs, and ship tours, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell to be notified every time we upload a new video. I'm fighting this little speck of light coming through my blinds here. Like I mentioned, Icon of the Seas will be making her maiden voyage with public passengers this Saturday of the recording of this video. So in 2 days from now, I'm actually going down to see it. Me and a few friends that do ship spotting up in Port Canaveral, we're taking the Bright Line down there. But that's not related to today's topic. But stay tuned for that video. With the arrival of Icon, and not even quite here yet, they're already starting to talk about Star of the Seas, which is great. And they're already starting to talk about changes that are being made compared to Icon. So recently, Jay Schneider is the vice president of Royal Caribbean, and he's kind of leading the way with Star of the Seas from what it seems like, as far as putting everything on board, getting the project going and ready, things like that. Just kind of leading the way with the entire project here with Star of the Seas. And he recently did an interview just talking about Star of the Seas as she's under construction. Her mega blocks are coming together. She's going to start looking like a cruise ship here pretty soon in the next couple of months, which is very hard to believe. And one of the most interesting things that he mentioned about Star of the Seas is that it's not going to be the world's largest cruise ship, which kind of seems a little odd. And I'm not entirely sure if I believe it just yet either. And the only reason this is like coming up and being a little weird is that the biggest marketing strategy with the Oasis class is that each of the 6 Oasis class ships were bigger than the previous. So there's the 6 inches between Oasis and Allure. Then Harmony was about 3,000 or 4,000 tons more than Allure. Then Symphony was like 2,000 tons more than Harmony, and so on. Oasis was about 225,000 tons whenever she first debuted. And now we're getting Oasis 6, Utopia of the Seas, is going to be sitting at about 236. So over the span of 6 ships in the Oasis class, each one got bigger. And to me, that was probably one of the smartest marketing strategies that Royal Caribbean's ever done. Because what it does is that it creates the feeling like, oh, the world's largest cruise ship, that's crazy, that's awesome. That piques people's interest, saying, hey, this is the world's largest cruise ship. And I feel like part of that is why the Oasis class was so successful, because each one was marketed as the next world's largest cruise ship, taking interest in people saying, oh, wow, this one's pretty big. And, whether it was incremental, a few thousand tons, 6 inches, whatever it was, it just helped them market the ships. And marketing a world's largest cruise ship instead of one of the world's largest cruise ships I feel like it boosts sales just a little bit. Whether it's a lot or a little bit, it definitely is a marketing strategy, and I think it worked really well with the Oasis class. Now, I'm not saying that I want this to happen. I don't want these ships to get way too big, because they're already borderline way too big. But I'm not complaining. I, for one, am somebody that loves the really big ships. I love the Oasis class. I love the Icon class. I don't mind the size. My sweet spot with ships is about 160 to 180, but I will never say no to an Oasis or an Icon class. So that's kind of one of the biggest differences, and one of the things that they're already starting to talk about with Star of the Seas is that she's not going to be marketed as the world's largest cruise ship. And she may not be smaller. She's definitely not going to be smaller than Icon, but they're not going to be using that same strategy. So it's going to be almost identical. So everything from gross tonnage to length to height, everything like that, passenger capacity, Star of the Seas should be pretty much identical to Icon of the Seas. And that's kind of what they're meaning by this. They're not planning to get each one incrementally larger than the last. Even though at this time we really only have 3 Icon class ships coming. So other than the size, one of the other things that they mentioned was the Supper Club, which is a new restaurant venue on board Icon of the Seas. Icon of the Seas actually has a New York theme to the restaurant, and it's one of the very high-end specialty dining restaurants. And on Star of the Seas, they mentioned that area and that restaurant was going to be Chicago themed on Star. So just different theming around the ship, and that's pretty much what happens on each different ship in a class, is that usually it's just different theming, different lounges, different bars, things like that. It's typically what happens throughout, the generation of a ship. Just that way they're not identical in and out. And so when people are going on Icon and Star, they're not getting the exact same thing. Because, of course, if you change them up a little bit, it gives people a reason to go on these ships. So it's likely with Icon 3, not that we're anywhere close to that one, but with Icon 3, we could probably see that being the case as well, is that they're going to make little changes like that. And probably the Supper Club will be a little bit different, a different city, most likely, whether it's a US city or somewhere over in Europe, Asia, wherever. So that'll be really neat just to kind of see what they do with the theming of that particular restaurant and then just other places on board the ship. And really the only other thing that they mentioned is that there's going to be a hot tub added to Star of the Seas. And this is because during the construction process of Icon, they didn't think that they were going to be able to. They thought the ship was going to be a little too heavy. So they had to take out and they had to completely scrap a hot tub that they were going to try to put on board. Well, pretty much during the sea trials and during the late construction process, they found out, yeah, they could put it in. So unfortunately, that didn't make its way into Icon. It got scrapped. But now they know for Icon 2 or Star of the Seas. And so that hot tub seems like it's going to be making its way over to the ship. And that's the cool thing. Again, as you progress through a generation of cruise ships, you see different things implemented. Oasis class is a prime example of this. We see so many things on Utopia of the Seas and Wonder of the Seas that we do not see on Oasis and Allure. As the generation of the Oasis class and as that project just aged, each ship got more things, different things, better restaurants, things like that. So it'll be cool to see how it progresses and what kind of changes we see from Icon all the way up until Icon 3. Other than that, it was really just mentioned that we're a little too far out to be talking too much about Star of the Seas. And of course, we haven't even had the maiden public voyage of Icon of the Seas yet. So we really are a little too far ahead to be talking about Star of the Seas in depth right now and just revealing everything that the ship has to offer just yet. And plus, we still have Utopia of the Seas coming out in the next couple months, which is also crazy to think about. Expect more details from Star of the Seas coming over the next couple months and the next year, as she is set to set sail next summer in 2025 here from Port Canaveral, Florida. I hope you guys enjoyed today's cruise news videos. Let me know what your thoughts are on Star of the Seas and Icon of the Seas. Will you be sailing on either ship? I'll be sailing on both. Anyways, thank you for watching Cruise News, and we'll see you next time.